Alright boys, it's me. Let's talk about some Tekken 8. Alright, so I think my current standing with Tekken 8 is that it's very fun. Okay, I know it's really crazy to say this. Yeah, Tekken 8's fun, dude. But you know, like I've said before, anything can be fun, okay? The thing that I think is so funny is that, yeah, Tekken 8 is really fun right now, but not much about the game, the core game, has changed. It just feels like, you know, fucking Tekken 8, like Tekken 8, the usual shit, you know? Like, I would say it feels the same since they added, like, the 20 HP buff. I know that there's, like, a new patch where they made Heat Smash not homing, but that shit's a fucking lie. That shit's still homing. Anyways, last time I played this game was, like, April 23, and I've been playing in very, very tiny bursts. Like, maybe an hour every other day or so. So it's not that much, but it's been really fun every time I play it. And I thought I decided to hop back in just before like Combo Breaker started, right? But I didn't play over the weekend because, you know, I was watching Combo Breaker. But man, I will say Combo Breaker, it was okay. It wasn't like amazing, but sometimes it really shows how ugly the game gets. Like, you are seeing professional players button mash and just do the scrubbiest things ever, and it's just so ugly to watch, dude. It's like, it just makes you question, like, why are these guys even professionals? But you know, it does make sense. But it's like, why would you mash it type shit, you know? Like, that's my mindset when I'm watching some of the things. And my god, they should just stop letting people take their shirts off at Combo Breaker. That was like, you know, yuck. Some of the things I wish I never saw. Anyways, I just want to talk about Tekken 8 really quick, right? And I'll explain why it's fun, okay? I think that, like I said, I don't know if I said this earlier, but
cheap, dude.
I think the only thing that's keeping Tekken 8 fun is the community, okay? So, I'll explain in detail, but I think as of right now, what I'm doing in Tekken 8 is, you know, I've just been playing ranked, and you know, of course, playing at the high ranks is like dead as fuck, okay? It still feels really dead. Sometimes like my queues take like a minute to 10 minutes, dude, and that shit is so fucking wild that it takes that long. You know, and it still feels like that since I was playing like a month ago, but now it feels a little bit much more populated since like April 23 since I was playing. I don't know how else to explain it other than matches are much more frequent, but I think that's only because everyone who still did not take a break like I did, like I took like a month off of this game, right? Man, I kind of wish I didn't, because like taking a month off and coming back, I see all these Lars players that I follow get all the way to God, and I was like, damn, if I didn't take a break, I'd be up there like right now, you know what I mean? Copium. But yeah, you know, anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, queues. Yeah, like I'm still playing, and I'm finding matches a little bit more frequent, and I thought it was so interesting that the player base kind of got a little bit higher since last month. Not by much, maybe by like a thousand people more, or 100. I don't remember, but it's probably like 1,000 people more, like 5,900 or like 6,900 ish. I think that's pretty interesting. Anyways, my current thoughts on Lars, like after playing him again, I think Lars is very okay this season, but he's not like top tier or like bottom tier. I think he's much more in line and like below average, just because you can't really sidestep. That's the one thing that I think is really strange about this season, is that
like, what am I
Lars
supposed to do
can't really
here?
sidestep this season compared to season 1. Obviously, that's what everyone's complaining about in season 2.
Like,
But
that's just so dumb.
I'm
It's a
serious,
elbow
like this
too,
season
dude. It's
is
a elbow.
very hard to step everything with Lars. Like with Brian in the Brian matchup, it feels so much worse that I just can't sidestep right or anything. Like occasionally Lars can sidestep left with some Brian things, but like this season for sure, I just cannot sidestep right at all. It's almost like hatchet kick is homing. It's very crazy. Like Hatchet kick, you're able to step it in season 1. If he does back 1 into hatchet kick, you could sidestep left. That's the way how Lars has to do it. He sidestep left, he could do it. But now in season 2, I don't know if they changed something, but Lars really can't sidestep hatchet kicks at all. That shit is homing now. Like, I don't know if I'm sidestepping wrong or some shit, side walking wrong, but I can't sidestep both ways against hatchet kick after he does like back 1. Right, so he's like +4 or something. He's doing hatchet kick, which is like 20 frames. Dude, you have 16 frame window to walk. Lars can't do it anymore in this season. I think that's weird. Like, I'm pretty sure season 1, if he did back 1 and then you sidestep left or sidewalk left, you dodge it. Even sidewalk right, you could dodge it. But now you can't really do it at all in this season. I think that's weird as fuck, dude. Anyways, the other thing that I think, like, oh, back to what I was saying, it was like, I think this game is fun is because the community, the community is keeping it fun, right? So how exactly is the community keeping Tekken 8 fun? I think it's actually like a mindset that the community has to go through in order to make the game fun, and I think that's what this community is going through. Okay, at least I went through this with the game, and I think that's what, you know, you can kind of feel it when you play against the other person, right? That's the one thing I really love about fighting games. Like, if you are playing the game and you interact with other players, you can have like a psychic connection, and you could feel like how they're thinking and how they're feeling. That shit is so sick. Anyway, I think what it is the community is going through the stages of grief. Okay, so what the stages of grief are the stages of like how someone feels after someone dies. Okay, I know it's really crazy, but I think that's what the community feels with this franchise. Like, this franchise, you know, got fucking killed since this season, and all these Tekken fans are going through the 5 stages of grief. They went through denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And once you go through all 5, I think that's when you can find the game really fun, you know, super duper fun. At least I went through that, and I was like, man, I think this game is pretty sick, you know what I mean? So the first stage of grief is denial, right? Like, we were like, how the fuck could they do this to Tekken 8? They just made season 2 homing. Like, everything is, there's no defense, you know? Everyone was like crying about it, you know? And then the second stage of grief is anger. So, you know, we got really fucking upset with this season, giving it like negative reviews. And, you know, of course, I'm pretty sure everyone heard about that. Like, everyone got super duper pissed. And then that leads on to the third stage of grief, which is bargaining. So then, you know, all these fans went on Twitter to complain to the devs, like, we're giving this a negative review if you don't change it now. And then, you know, the devs are like, hey, calm down. We'll do something, you know. And then the fourth stage of grief is depression. And that's when people, like, uninstall the game. They don't play the game. That's literally what I did. I stopped playing the game for a month, and then, you know, let some time pass. You go into the 5th stage of grief, which is acceptance. So once you agree that this game, this franchise is like dead, it's ugly, this game is like super shitty and random and gambling. Like, once you understand what this game is, that's when you find peace with this game, and that's when the game becomes fun. So I think right now that's what everyone went through when they played this game. Some people still might be in like the depression stage of Tekken, or, you know, I don't know, somewhere else in the other stages of grief with Tekken. Everyone copes in their own way with, you know, how this game is going. But the thing that I see when it comes down to this, at least the remaining players when I play ranked, is that everyone seems to really be having a lot more fun than the beginning of this season. At least that's how I feel when I'm fighting people. Like, everyone is kind of playing to like respectable manner and not really cheesing as much, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's like that. You could also say that the community is getting a little bit much more solid, or the remaining players are, but it feels really nice to play like Tekken 8 and sort of like a clean way where you want to outsmart your opponent, you know what I mean, without cheesing, if that makes sense. Even though this game is pretty much, you know, Russian roulette, you know. Oh, you know, speaking of, a little bit off topic, I was watching a game by Rooflemonger, or a video by Rooflemonger about like what is it, fighting game mechanics that ruined the franchise. And he was talking about SoulCalibur 6, and SoulCalibur 6 had a mechanic. I never kept up with this. SoulCalibur 6 had a mechanic called Reversal Edge that was literally just like Tekken 8. And Reversal Edge was a move, a universal move that every character had. It was a mid parry armor move that you could not grab, and as soon as it hit an opponent, it put people in a rock paper scissors situation. Okay, I forgot what the terminology was that Japanese people use when it comes to games like this, where it's just gambling or it's a game of chance. But that's what Reversal Edge is that it was this mid move that you cannot grab, super armor. As soon as it touches people, you had to guess, right? And if you guess wrong, you lose health. And this game mechanic was designed for lower experienced players to be higher experienced players. And I don't know if the SoulCalibur director worked on Tekken 8, but I know that some SoulCalibur developers did move into Tekken 8 because SoulCalibur 6 was really fucking bad, so they took some of the development team. And you could see some of that DNA being put into Tekken 8. I think that shit is really funny. I think it's really interesting if they saw that, like, hey, SoulCalibur 6 is dead, let's take your team and let's use it in Tekken 8. And you know, they didn't see that SoulCalibur 6 died. That's like such a big mishap. Like, wow, you don't really understand why this other franchise died, and you want to use the same elements that it had in your game, and you're wondering why this game is dying too. It's just so fucking funny to me. Anyways, I don't know if they did end up, I don't know if the SoulCalibur team is working with the Tekken 8 team. I know that there's like some director of SoulCalibur 6 working in like Tekken 8, but I don't know like what department. But you know, I was just like talking shit. Okay. Anyways, I think Tekken 8 is pretty fun because, you know, once you accept that this game is like Mario Party, that's when you really find like, wow, this game is sick. You know, it's pretty fun. Anyways, I still think it kind of sucks to be a Tekken 8 fan when I don't know, we don't really have much hope for the future. But as of right now, the current state is just really fun. That's all I could say. It just feels so good to do combos, but I know that combos do feel too long. That's one thing that I really noticed too, and you know, everyone else is saying that, and I'm like, oh, I'm really starting to feel that combos really are a bit too long, you know. But it kind of sucks being a Tekken fan because this is like the only game that you can really play to, you know, get your fill of Tekken. I think what it really is just like to play a game that skill checks you, okay? It's just so hard to find a good game that skill checks you, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a mental game, something that you could do to just keep your brain running, you know what I mean? That's just all it is. And it's like, dude, I don't know what it is, but there's like no other games that really do this. Like Marvel Snap, maybe, just a little bit. I enjoy Marvel Snap too. But, you know, sometimes Marvel Snap is like giga RNG. Anyways, that's like the reason why I think Tekken 8 is fun. Or at least Tekken in general is fun. I think that's all I have to say. Oh, really quick. Some other Tekken news. Fahkumram, who gives a fuck, okay? If you don't know who Fahkumram is literally, he was Tekken 8 when he was released in Tekken 7. So what I mean by this is Fahkumram had the Tekken 8 mechanic with him this whole time, or gameplay. In Tekken 7, Fahkumram had a down forward one that was 13 frames, and it would lead into mix up, and there was no option selecting. So he had like a mid plus move, a mid on like, you know, mid hit that was safe, or it was plus, and he had a hell sweep. and he had a guard break, and they all wall splat. So that was like the Tekken 8 mechanics, and who would have thought that they would have brought this shit into, you know, the sequel of Tekken, you know? Oh yes, everyone hates Fahkumram in Tekken 7. Let's use that and bring it into Tekken 8. But that's literally all that he is. He was like the mix-up machine, you know? And I guess he's finally here and no one really cares. Like, he was DLC in Tekken 7 and he's DLC again, which is like, feels kind of scummy, but you know, wow, very cool. Anyways, I also think it's really funny that they released Armor King at the end of Combo Breaker. To me, that kind of sends a message that they know that everyone is really pissed off at them, but they're trying to keep everyone together and hyped for the upcoming seasons of Tekken 8 just by releasing Armor King. So if you don't know, Armor King is kind of like the American hero of Tekken. Like, everyone who's American, if they see Armor King, they like automatically know who he is. They love Armor King way more than King in America. At least that's what my experience is. My 10 years of fucking seeing him, and like, you know, at least my experience with Tekken 7 is seeing how fans reacted, right? Like, Armor King being released at Combo Breaker is kind of like, you know, I don't know, it's like fast food for everybody. Everybody's like, oh my god, they're so hyped over him. But yeah, they're like really trying to keep everyone hyped for them still. Like, guys, please still love us. We'll release Armor King, you know? Armor King players are like people who would wear black Air Force Ones. That was exactly what the embodiment of Armor King players. The scummiest pieces of shit. Just poking and grabbing and doing all this annoying ass shit, you know? Man, I still think it's really funny that Anna players are usually like gays, or they're girls, or weird, you know, like super weird dudes. Like, that's literally the embodiment of Anna players. Like, you could really tell the type of people, you know, depending on the players they play. Like, if they're Lars players, they're like a bunch of weebs and shit, you know? Lily players are kind of like, they have the same player base as Anna's, but they are like, they have like the people who are into like feet, you know what I mean? Like, it's so strange. But yeah, that's like Armor King in a nutshell. He's for people who wear black Air Force Ones, and you know, he's like America's like poster child pretty much. Like, everybody in America loves Armor King. Anyways, I think when he releases, you're gonna see he's kind of like King. But he's like a lot more poke heavy, and he does have some throw game. Not as good as King's, but his throws are still really, really solid. You know what I mean? Anyways, I think that's all for me. Skrrr.